Yo, what is going on, guys? You got Glop here, back again, doing coverage for Week 3 of RBTT, and this took place after the embarrassment that was Week 2. I'm here versus Staxy, and my team was like, yo, Glop, you're hot, but not in Gen 3. What can you actually play? And I'm like, alright, bet. Let's do some Gen 7. So, getting into this here, my team was Buzzwole, Wishy-Washy, Dragalge, Togedemaru, Crustle, and Gardevoir Mega. So without wasting any more time, we'll just get into it. Turn 1 here, I got Buzzwole versus Skuntank, and I don't want to take a Fire Blast. I know that these typically run that, so I'm going to scout that by pulling a switch into Wishy-Washy, as I do get that call correctly. And then from here, I believe I just fire off an Earthquake, since I don't want to assume anything early game, at least not at this point. I'm going to switch back into Buzzwole, because it's a really nice check to Kartana. Takes its, physical hits very well with its nice bulk. I'm then going to pull a double into my Dragalge, expecting the Kartana to want to switch out. And that's going to allow me to get off a Spec Sludge Wave and really chip away at this card bank. They switch into Kartana, and I also expect a switch out on their part, knowing that they have this Steel-type Kartana. But I didn't know if they had something else, maybe different in the back. So they actually go into Kartana, and here I'm pretty much forced out. I have to go back into my Buzzwole. But again, I take the hits very nicely, and I'm able to just once again fire off a Drain Punch, I believe. Yep. And here, I could have just stayed in and KO'd this Carbink, but I know that sometimes they run the Custat Berry, so I didn't want to risk that and lose my Buzzwole to a Moonblast. So I actually go ahead and switch out into my Togedemaru. And what that's going to allow me to do is pick up a KO in the following turn with Iron Head. It's not likely that they would switch into Kartana there, just because if I go for Nuzzle, then their Kartana is paralyzed and it's essentially dead. So they go back into Kartana, and at this point, Buzzwole's taking a lot of repeated damage with Stealth Rock and these attacks, so I don't want it taking extra chip. So I'm just going to opt to sack my Togedemaru. That's going to give me a free switch into my Buzzwole to do it, then again fire off another Drain Punch. Their response is Dragalge, which is a good switch on their part. And at this point, I'm realizing that if I get rid of Dragalge or weaken it, Buzzwole looks like it has a really good shot of cleaning up late game, because my set is Scarf. So I have no switching to Draco. So I decide that Wishy-Washy is probably my weakest member, knowing how slow it is. So I'm going to go ahead and sack it off. And this turn, this is probably the most important turn of the whole battle. So the concept here is that if I weaken Dragalge and get rid of it, then Buzzwole has a really good shot at winning. However, whenever someone sees a Crustle, they generally think, okay, this is going to Shell Smash up. And this is my opponent's first time ever playing me. It's only 14 turns in the battle. It's not like they have a huge read on me. And usually, their best play would be to just Draco to not allow me to get the Shell Smash off for free. However, I think that they were just making the all-around safe play, and they weren't making a play from my perspective. My perspective being that if I just get damage on Dragalge, then I'm good to win with Buzzwole. So I don't even Shell Smash here. I go for Earthquake, and very luckily I get a crit, which did matter. However, this allows them to get their Katana in, and they pick up another KO. So it's just Beast Boost after Beast Boost. Ultra Beasts are just slinging it out right now. I again throw off another Drain Punch, and I haven't revealed it yet, but I do have Leech Life, which is slightly stronger. But I wanted to kind of feign that I didn't have it. You're going to see that that's actually really huge for me later in this game. So, I don't want to take a Nuzzle. I go out to Gardevoir because I figure, okay, I can probably just take an electric move with Volt Absorb, but they actually make a really nice play and go for U-turn. Buzzwole comes out once again, and I did calc that turn to make sure I lived that. It was a really kind of narrow roll, but I lived 100%. So, once again, I'm just throwing off more Drain Punches, and I don't want to take a Fire Blast here. Now, I hadn't shown my final member at this time. Actually, I had shown Dragalge. All right, well, you know what? They knew Dragalge was coming in, and they make a really nice play again. They go for Crunch. It covered, basically, if I went to Gardevoir or Dragalge. In this case, they pick up the 2-hit KO. So, I'm going to go to Gardevoir here, because I'm like, okay, this forces a KO, and then I just got to hope that Buzzwole can clean up. So I'm going to Mega Evolve, fire off Hyper Voice. I don't even think they bother Sucker Punching. Yeah. Because they know they get Kartana in and they pick up their KO that way. So then here is where I decide to reveal Leech Life. And this is kind of big because it's a little bit stronger than Drain Punch. And I'm going to get my first Beast Boost here. And this next turn is kind of crazy. They have Guzzlord. Now, Guzzlord has a bunch of HP, so that's going to allow me to heal up a lot with Leech Life. The issue is that I can still lose this battle. If they had Fire Blast and they went for it, the roll is like 76 to 90% on Buzzwole. And as you're about to see, when I use Leech Life, I only recover up to 87. However, it turns out I don't even think they had Fire Blast because they go for Draco, and I'm just barely able to tank that. And again, because I am Choice Scarfed, I'm going to outspeed Pachirisu in the next turn and secure the battle. So, right here, I thought this was pretty funny. He says, I choked so much, L, GG. And I'm actually going to move this over just so y'all can see. This man hid the room. And the reason this was annoying is because in this tour, you had to like show your replays. This guy hid the replay, so it made it kind of difficult to like get our hold of it. And the only reason I was able to upload it is because I didn't leave the battle right away. But my manager was freaking out because I left the battle and they're like, wait, I can't find it. What happened to the replay? And I'm like, yo, the dude hid the room, but don't worry, I got it. So that was battle 1. Battle 2, my team was Gengar, Mega, Aromatisse, Cast Form, Sudowoodo, Durant, and Incineroar. Kind of a mixed bag, but I felt pretty comfortable with it. So turn 1, it is going to be Gengar versus Tyrantrum, and I think here we're both kind of scared out. I don't want to risk a Focus Blast. I didn't actually have it, but he probably thinks I have it, and I didn't want to die to Head Smash. So I'm going to pull a switch into my Aromatisse, as he pulls a switch into Amoonguss. And this is good information for me, because now I know that his initial response to Gengar is going to be this Amoonguss. So I'm going to switch out once again into Cast Form as he goes Dragalge, and I figured, okay, I don't really want to switch anything into this. I'd rather just get off damage, because that'll open up a door for Gengar. So I go for Ice Beam, and really fortunately I get a crit, as he gets up a T-Spike, which I don't know if I agree with. I mean, it's not like Cast Form's a huge threat, and you're probably going to like 1 or 2 shot it anyways, but I mean, I have the Gengar right there. So I don't know. Kind of an interesting play. They go Cobalion here, and this is a huge turn because I actually get the freeze. And I kind of felt bad for my opponent right here. I was like, man, that really sucks. But you're going to see that it isn't too detrimental. So I go Gengar, getting rid of that T-Spike as they stay frozen for a turn. And I'm going to go ahead and Mega Evolve here and throw off Shadow Ball. I haven't seen a resist to it, and it does a really nice amount of damage. And right here, I'm thinking, okay, well, Amoonguss, if you have Spore, you go for it. If you have Synthesis, you go for it, because you're trapped in here. So you got to try to wall me out, right? So I'm going to reveal Taunt. I believe my set was Taunt, Perish Song, Protect, Shadow Ball. And I'm actually going to go ahead and get the 3-hit KO on the Amoonguss, which is really nice. So that thing goes down, and I believe they go into Pidgeot. Yep. And right here, I kind of make a conditioning play. I decide to go for Protect. It didn't really like achieve anything, but what it does is it sort of incentivizes my opponent into going for Hurricane on the next turn. You know, because a lot of times if you see Protect, you like think, oh, you know, now there's mind games. Now they might switch out, right? So what this allows me to do is get a pretty free switch into my Sudowoodo, who takes the Hurricane really well. And I'm actually able to get up Stealth Rocks on the following turn. That's great because now I have some kind of pressure. I didn't have hazards in the last game, so it's nice that I have them here. Always a luxury to have in random battles. So my only real switch into this thing is my Gengar. I could go Durant, but I kind of want to keep that thing healthy for Tyrantrum, which you're going to see is really huge later. They stay frozen here, but they do thaw this turn. And they're able to scare me out with Iron Head. So now I figure, okay, you don't go for close combat. In no world do you go for close combat on this next turn. And I felt pretty comfortable just pivoting into my Durant here, because I know I can take Iron Head really well, and I can throw off a Banded Superpower. So I do just that, and I pick up the KO on Dragalge. And then here is kind of an interesting situation. Pidgeot comes back out, and I actually opt to go into my Incineroar here. I'm Assault Vested, and my thought process was, okay, Sudowoodo, I mean, crazily enough, it looks better than Incineroar. Incineroar is nice for Intimidate and all, but it gets outsped and KO'd by like everything else. So I decided to go into Incineroar because I know it'll take Hurricane, I could U-turn out, but they actually go for U-turn themselves. which allows them to get in their Cobalion. And here I thought I made a good play, but it was actually kind of whack. It actually kind of set me up in a bad position. They get up rocks. I did calc this, and I learned that I did live close combat, which is why I went for Flare Blitz. But I didn't think about the fact that they were just trying to get up rocks so they could set up for this next turn, which is getting in Tyrantrum and threatening my team with Dragon Dance. So I have to, like, go for damage here. I go for knockoff thinking maybe this thing's Lumberry, but it turns out it's Z-move, which is really scary. So I'm like, okay, well, shoot, somebody's got to bite the dust. So I say goodbye to Cast Form. And here's sort of an unfortunate play. So I make a bait here to put myself in a good position. I ran a calc, and I learned that Aromatisse will live neutral head smash around like 70%, so I'm like, okay, let me go to Aromatisse. I know it dies to this attack, so what I'm trying to do is bait and sack my Incineroar so that I put it down to neutral attack. But unfortunately for me, they miss head smash. And the reason this sucks is now they can set up another Dragon Dance pretty much for free. So I go for Fake Out, just get extra chip, and I make the right call here. I go for U-turn, knowing that they're not going to just raw head smash. And I'm going to get back in my Aromatisse, and then from here I'm going to try my play once again, and it actually works out this time because they go for head smash and they connect. Now, this turn caused a little bit of controversy. They go for head smash, and it lands off to the side here. Now, I ran a calc, and I'm going to show it at the end of the battle. It does like 62 to 73 max. So it was very unlikely that the miss mattered. It would have just changed the end game, and I'll kind of recap that once we get there. So they miss head smash. I pick up the KO with Iron Head. This is going to allow in Pidgeot, and I sat here for a while kind of deliberating like, okay, who do I sack? Who's important? Who's not important? I opted that speed I felt was really important. So, and I didn't want to go hard Sudowoodo since I know it checks Pidgeot like really well. So I went ahead and sacked off Aromatisse here, said I don't need him anymore. Her. It's going to go down to 2 Hurricanes. That's going to allow me to get in my Sudowoodo, and thankfully I can't miss my head smash thanks to their no guard. So I'm able to pick up the KO here with that, and now it's their last Pokemon versus my remaining 3. And they have Furret, Choice Scarf. So they have to lock themselves into Aqua Tail. They pick up the KO. I go Gengar feeling like, okay, let me try to go off like a miss. Maybe I can get off a Parashong and then protect, sack Durant, come back in, protect again, win the game. But they actually connect their Aqua Tail. So now it comes down to, can I hit an attack with Hustle? And the answer, my friends, is yes, I can. So I'm able to close out this game. I was very happy about this. And again, they show some little bit of salt, a little bit of unsportsmanship. I'll show the chat here. I say GG, and they say not really for this one, which I thought was kind of funny because I figured, okay, they're probably mad about that Iron Head miss, and my dimensions are going to be all off for this post. But hopefully this comes through in OBS. Let me scroll it up here. I actually have the calc. So here you can see the damage of Head Smash versus Durant. So it was a roll heavily in my favor. And I told them, you know, it didn't really matter since basically if I lived, I would have just sacked off Durant to the Hurricane, and then I would have went into Sudowoodo. On this turn, I will showcase that here. My dimensions are all out of whack. All right, boom. So it would have been on the turn where they went for Head Smash. Okay, right here. So assuming I lived that and I KO'd with Iron Head, Pidgeot would have come out. I would have just sacked off Durant because it's at 1%. Doesn't even live rocks anyways. I would have gone into Sudowoodo, Head Smashed the Pidgeot, and then it would have been Furret versus Gengar, Aromatisse, and Durant. Or no, versus Sudowoodo, excuse me. And from that point, I have a pretty much full health Aromatisse, and I can actually go for Reflect with this thing, and that's going to allow me to very easily beat an Aqua Tail locked Furret 1v1. So that's it for this set. I was really happy with how I played. I think that there was definitely some hacks, and maybe my opponent didn't always make the best plays. They definitely got, you know, the short side of the stick when it came to luck, but I don't feel like the luck was so detrimental that it meant they had no chance on winning. Like, I feel like these are very close games. It was a competitive set, and I had a lot of fun playing it. So hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode of this, or I might do an upload of Glops at the top. I'm not sure. But stay posted. I'm going to have some new content coming out for this weekend. I got a new idea for a series. It's going to be fire. You'll love it. Anyways, peace, guys.